Yadvandava Guru Balabdi Manantapalam
Eko Vatena Tatareya Mati Sadvam
Eko Ratena Tatareya Mati Visadvam
Vicharatam Savidanam Samaya Purisham
Pratyaritam Bahudanam Chanmaya Parisham
Tejas Param Surobhyam
Tejaspadam Manimayam Charidam Shirobhya
Yadbhandava Kurvalabhi Manantaparam
Yadbandava Guru Balabdi Manantaparam
Eko Vatena Tatareya Mati Sadvam
Eko Ratena Tatareya Mati Visadvam
Pradyaritam Bahudanam Samaya Paresham
Pratyaritam Bahudanam Chamaya Parisham
Tejas Param Harimayam Charadam Sarupya
Tejaspadam Manimayam Charidam Shirobhya
Yadmanava Yuvala Manataparam
Yadvandava Guru Balabdi Manantaparam
Eko Vatena Tatareya Mati Sadvam
Eko Ratena Tatareya Mati Visadvam
Pradyaritam Bahudanam Samaya Paresham
Pratyaritam Bahudanam Chamaya Parisham
Tejas Param Charadam Sarupya
Tejaspadam Manimayam Charidam Shirobhya Yadvandhava Guru Balabdhim Anantaparam Yadvandhava Guru Balabdhim Anantaparam Eko Ratena Tatare Amarti Asadvam Eko Ratena Tatare Amarti Asadvam Pratyartim Bahudanam Chamaya Paresam Pratyaritam Bahudanam Chamaya Paresham Tejaspadam Manimayam Charitam Sirobhya Tejaspadam Manimayam Charitam Sirobhya
Yadbandhava
Yadvandava
by whose friendship only
by whose friendship only
Wala an Abdin
Kubalabdhim
the ocean of the military strength of the Kurus
the ocean of the military strength of the Kurus
Anantaparam
Anantavaram
which was insurmountable
which was insurmountable
Eka
Eka
alone
alone
Ratena
Ratena
being seated
being seated on the chariot
Tatare
Tatare
was able to cross over
was able to cross over
Aham
Aham
myself
wrestling fan for 25 minutes.
must be invincible. Sattvam
Sattvam
existence.
existence
Pratyaratam
Pratyaritam
drew back.
drew back
Bahu very large quantity.
very large quantity
Dhanam
Dhanam
wealth.
wealth
Cha
Cha
also Maya
Maya
by Maya.
Maya
Parisham
Parisham
of the enemy.
of the enemy
Tejaparam
Tejasavam
source of brilliance.
source of brilliance
Manimayam
Manimayam
bedecked with jewels.
decked with jewels Cha
Also
also
Hitam taken by force.
taken by force
Yeah,
Shirobhya
from their heads.
from their heads.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
The military strength of the Kauravas was like an ocean in which there dwelt many invincible existences, and thus it was insurmountable. How many people were in the battle?
640 million.
That's an ocean. That's an ocean of warriors. And most of them were on the Kuru side. Pandavas had less. But because of his friendship, I, seated on the chariot, was able to cross over it. and only by his grace was I able to regain the cows and also collect by force many helmets of the kings, which were bedecked with jewels. Pretty expensive helmets there, and jewels. There were sources of all brilliance. On the Kaurava side, there were many stalwart commanders like Bhishma, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, and Karna, and their military strength was as insurmountable as the great ocean. You mentioned Duryodhana was powerful. I mean, Bhima was fighting with Duryodhana for a long time until Krishna gave a little sign. And yet, it was due to Lord Krishna's grace that Arjuna alone, sitting on the chariot, could manage to vanquish them one after another without difficulty. There were many changes of commanders on the other side, but on the Pandava side, Arjuna alone, on the chariot driven by Lord Krishna, could manage the whole responsibility of the great war. Who was the actual commander-in-chief?
Bhima. Drishti.
Just Arjuna. But here it says Arjuna, which is interesting. I guess in all practicality. Very good. Similarly, when the Pandavas were living at the palace of Virata incognito, the Kauravas picked a quarrel with King Virata and decided to take away his large number of cows. While they were taking away the cows, Arjuna fought with them incognito and was able to regain the cows along with some booty taken by force. The jewels set on the turbans of the royal order. Arjuna remembered all this. It was possible by the grace of Ukam Bhagavan Sama Pandinam Vete Yakti Pata Vivantika Puchi Vishya Vivasan Devacha Katika Avane Vivashya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Shri Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. So here, we're hearing how, by the mercy of Krishna, Arjuna was able to gain victory. And it stated, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Vinarjuna, Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhutya, Duvali Tiravatirava. Wherever there is Krishna, the supreme mystic, wherever there is Arjuna, supreme Arjuna, there will certainly be opulence. Vijaya. There will be extraordinary strength and Tatra Vijaya Bhuti. And we see that with Krishna, he's a pretty amazing personality. Just to show some of his mystic abilities. Krishna, when he was a child, not that God has to always be in adult. God is also a child. I was on a book distribution one time, and I approached one man. I was showing him the book. He said, "Oh, you're a Hare Krishna." He said, "Oh yeah, you're the people that think God is a little blue boy." Yeah, that sounds. But he doesn't know that God can be a little blue boy. He's not limited. He's pretty far out. God's a little blue boy. Nice little blue boy. Amazing pastimes. Just like Krishna, he was playing with his cowherd friends. And one of the cowherd friends went and told Muddy Soda, Krishna, he's eating dirt. And Muddy Soda, oh, no. Kids just do stuff like that for anything they can. So Krishna, your boys are saying you're eating dirt. No. They're envious of him. But we had an argument and they're envious of it. Now they're complaining. No, even Balaram said they're eating it. Now Balaram too, they're all envious. We had an argument, now it's a conspiracy. She said, oh yeah, you open your mouth. Let me see. He opened his mouth. What did he see? And she said, the whole thing. She got a little dizzy. She even saw herself. Saw the whole universe. I mean, imagine that. This is the little blue boy. Krishna. No ordinary little boy. So, was Krishna guilty eating dirt or not? Question. Well, if you think about it, all the dirt in the universe was in his mouth. I think he was guilty. So that's a very mystical. Which is very mystical. And another time, Lord Brahma, he had heard that Krishna, that this cowherd boy is God, so he wanted to test him. So what did he do? He stole all the cowherd boys and the calves. What happened is they were taken prasad, and they noticed that the calves weren't there. They had drifted off, eating greener grass. And so Krishna Krishna's so nice. He said, no, don't bother them, my friends. 100%, I'll go find the cat. So he didn't want them to disturb their prasad. It's okay. Keep prasad. He goes and he can't find them, come back and the cow and the boys are gone too. And Krishna, being the supreme mystic God, Lord Brahma, being a little tricky here. Mm-hmm. So, being the supreme mystic, he manifested all the cowherd boys and the calves. How many boys were there? Thousands. And he was a perfect replica of each boy, each little characteristic of each boy. Why? Because he knows everyone. Perfect. So all the mothers of these cowherd boys, they all wanted to have Krishna as their son. They loved their children, but Krishna, he's the most attractive. So they all wanted to have Krishna as their son. So Krishna, he fulfilled their desire. With one action, many things are fulfilled. So they were so happy to see their boys, but they were happier because now actually it's Krishna. They had more love for their children because now it's Krishna. For how long? 1 year they were with Krishna. And the calves also, that's also Krishna. Mm-hmm. Krishna expanded his calf. Many calves, thousands of calves. And the cows, oh, they were also so much happier with their babies. It's described that the cowherd men, they were herding the cows and they went running down the hill on seeing their calves. And they were just running. And then the men they're trying to hold them back. They can't because it's Krishna. So then Balaram was there. He saw so much affection. He said, what is it? This is more than usual. Then he understood. Of course, he knows everything else. He understood it was Krishna. He had this ability, yeah, this mystic ability. So what happened is that Brahma, he had taken them. And then he came back to see what happened, and he saw them still there. And then he thought, uh-oh, trouble now. So then he started offering prayers, and that's there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The prayers offered by Lord Brahma, and he's asking forgiveness. Because he knew now he had taken the cat, he had taken the boys to the heavenly planets, and their slumber sleep, and now they're still there. So he started offering beautiful prayers, and one of the prayers is the most famous of all the prayers. Prabhupada said this one verse is the guide for all devotees of Krishna. 10:14:8. If you want to learn. Tattena kampam susamiksamano vijana ivat Ridvam Purvir Vidham Namaste Jiveti Mukti. He says to Krishna, always seeking your compassion, thus tolerating all difficulties, being due to his own past activities, and serving you with his mind, body, and words, such a devotee is eligible to inherit the kingdom of God. So this is how to inherit the kingdom of God. Whatever happens, we tolerate. We feel, the devotee feels, actually I deserve much worse. Krishna is very kind, so he's reduced. So Prabhupada, we're having this discussion among some devotees about whether everything is good for a devotee. I just read Prabhupada said, yes, everything is good for a devotee because they're connected to Krishna. And the devotee feels that if something happens, some reversal, he feels, this is so kind of Krishna. I deserve much worse. Krishna is so kind. He's reduced it now, just have this little reaction. So it's good. So it's so nice that a devotee feels. Therefore, Prabhupada says it's the guide for a devotee. Karma is something happens, some reversal. They, why me? Yeah. Even I've heard devotees say that, some reversal. Why me? Why is it? I'm a devotee. Why did it happen to me? No, we should not feel that. We deserve so much worse. Whatever may happen to us, we deserve much worse. And Krishna is very kind, so he's reducing. And so he offered these prayers to Krishna, the little blue boy. And it's described in the Nectar of Devotion that Lord Brahma couldn't tell if he was pleased or not, because Krishna, he was very grave. When you're grave, you can't tell if someone's pleased or not. So Krishna, like Prabhupada, could be very grave. So Krishna could also be very grave. So he was, he offered these nice prayers, and still, Krishna didn't even give him a smile. He was very grave. So it's another mystic ability, Krishna. And another time, there's many mystic abilities in Krishna, but he was playing the flute in the forest of Vrindavan, and so many gopis came to hear, not only to hear the flute, but dance. Vrindavana Vrichaja. Krishna is the best dancer. So they went there, and Krishna told the gopis, my dear gopis, it's late. It's forest, it's dangerous, it's wild animals. Your relatives are wondering about each other. Go home. Go home, it's not good. And the gopis said, Krishna, only you speak like this. Here we are, very attractive young girls. alone with you in the forest, and you're telling us to go home. Even Bhishma, they were trying to decide who should be the first honored of the Rajasuya sacrifice. And he said, I could not. He said, I'm famous as a staunch brahmachari, but I couldn't do it, Krishna. He's there alone with all these beautiful women, and he's telling them to go home. Krishna's out around. He's self-silent. He doesn't need them. But it was because of their love that he called them. And Krishna was speaking in this way, and they have their heads down, he says, with their toes, they're making little drawings on the sand. And Krishna, don't do this to us. They're lamenting. There's Krishna speaking of this. So finally, Krishna said, okay, come on, let's dance. So what did he do? He danced with all of them. He expanded himself. And they were all thinking that they're only one with Krishna. Not only did he expand it, but they had this mentality that I'm the only one with Krishna. Amazing. Krishna's the master of mystics. Now, sometimes Prabhupada, he would travel around, especially in India, and people would just be so much appreciative of Prabhupada. Prabhupada he's got some mystic ability. He's a mystic, he's a great mystic. He turning all of his Westerners to devotees. And Prabhupada said that was this mystic ability. That he was able to turn crows to swans. That was Prabhupada's great mystic ability. And there's so many pastimes in Prabhupada. Second, he was many devotees they had seen Prabhupada. They'd arrive in the airport or something, they would see it, they'd probably floating. There's one pastime where, I don't know if I said this here before, it's a nice pastime. Somebody may not. Prabhupada was in London, and he was at John Lennon's estate, and Prabhupada would go on a walk. So one morning he was walking, and there was some dew on the ground. He was walking with Yamuna, David, great devotee, disciple of Prabhupada. So she was walking next to him, but then she thought, Prabhupada is walking behind him. I'll follow in his footsteps. She's walking, and there's dew on the ground, little water on the ground, on the grass. And she looked down, and there's no footprint. No footprint. When you walk on dew, there's going to be a footprint. And she looked behind herself. I'm leaving a footprint. So she said, what's going on? She said, Prabhupada, you're not leaving a footprint when you're walking. And Prabhupada turned around and said, you will understand in the future. He continued floating. So Prabhupada had a mystic ability. And as we connect to Krishna, we could also transcend this material nature and even have some mystic ability. Of course, devotees don't want it. Devotees don't want this mystic ability. Devotees just want to serve the spiritual master. This is what devotees want to do. This is what pleases Krishna. Parvati Paripadina Paripasena said that one must approach a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul will impart knowledge unto him because he is the truth. So a devotee just wants to serve the spiritual master. So we have to find out what is most pleasing to the spiritual master. What is most pleasing to the spiritual master will also be what is most pleasing to Krishna. Yaidam paramam bhujam mad bhakte saladashise bhakti ram omivajpe samsaya Krishna says anybody that is teaching this message of Bhagavad Gita is very dear to me. And there'll never be anyone more dear to me than such a person. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it stated that anybody who, upon seeing that someone is unhappy, is suffering, feels unhappiness because of that suffering, and upon seeing someone that's happy, feels happiness, that is perfect religious principle. If we see someone suffering, it should give pain. Said Prabhupada so many times, he would say this, so many times Prabhupada would see people suffering and just give them pain. And he would see devotees joyful and be so happy. It's like recently I was reading Prabhupada was he was visiting the temple, and he saw all the devotees so happily chanting Hare Krishna, and he was just beaming. He was so happy to see these devotees. He said, when I see my disciples dressed in saffron, tilak, shaved heads, they look like they descended from Vaikuntha, like they come from Vaikuntha. So he'd be so happy to see the devotees serving Krishna. So here, in this verse, we're hearing how Arjuna, he was able to conquer these great warriors who were practically invincible. Kripacharya, Dronacharya, such great warriors. But he had the mercy of Krishna. Because he had the mercy of Krishna, he was able to conquer so many soldiers. And this is the goal of the human form of life, is to get the mercy of Krishna. We should live to get the mercy of Krishna. And Prabhupada tells us how to get his mercy. And Krishna tells us how to get his mercy. One of my favorite verses in the Bhagavad Gita, Tesam sadak yuktanam bhajatam didami bhuliyam yeno. Krishna says, to those who are constantly devoted to me and worship me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. He says, I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. We have to show that devotion. We have to show, this is what I want. And Krishna, he helps. Man proposes, God disposes. So we should understand that this is the purest desire that we can have, to serve Krishna, to serve the devotees. Otherwise, we have to serve the material nature. And material nature, a lot of suffering, so much suffering. Just like here it's described, there was an ocean of warriors. So also this material world is described as an ocean of suffering. So much suffering. Of course, people are suffering more in the mode of ignorance. And there's less suffering in the mode of passion and less in the mode of goodness. But still, suffering. And in the mode of goodness, what is the contamination? In the mode of goodness.
Knowledge,
Knowledge, yes.
happiness.
Happiness. And pride. Pride because they have knowledge and because they're in the mode of goodness. I'm better than them because I'm in the mode of goodness. I'm vegetarian. I'm health conscious. I like to give donations. I'm a good person. I'm better than the others. So this is the contamination. Then there's the mode of pure goodness. The Prabhupada said the goal of a Vaishnava is to enter into the mode of pure devotional service. So there's the mode of pure goodness. Not easy, that's a big challenge. To enter into pure goodness, where there's no pride, there's no lust, there's no greed, there's no contamination. This material world, it's like an ocean of suffering. And in an ocean, there's many waves. If you go deep into the ocean, I've heard that there's some waves that can get up to like 40, 50 feet high, even 60 feet high. Very dangerous. And therefore, sometimes ships they tip over. So there's many waves in the material world. So sometimes, due to karma or whatever, sometimes the waves of the material nature push someone up, and he becomes president of the United States. And then another wave comes and knocks him down, and he becomes a rat, say, in the country. There's described that there was one prime minister in India. I think it was native, and he was one astrologer found out that he had become a dog in Sweden. So he became a prime minister, then dog. So yeah, the material nature, it's we don't know what's going to happen. Now we have this human form of life. Fortunately, we're taking up Krishna consciousness. That means at least we'll get another human form of life. But people out there, they're just doing material activities their whole life, just engaged in so many sensible activities. The next life, they don't know. They don't know. Prabhupada said, actually, it's interesting. Prabhupada said the greatest fear of a devotee is to again enter into the animal species of life, which by his saying that means that we can enter into the animal species of life again. What was it Bhaktivinoda Thakur says? That my Lord, please, if I take birth again, please help me to take birth as just an insect in the house of your devotee. That way at least I'll get some remnants. To get some prasad. Get the human form of life again. So, but what a devotee wants to do is he just wants to engage in loving service to Krishna. He doesn't even want liberation, which is very advanced. He just wants to serve Krishna. And therefore Lord Chaitanya says, not dhanam. He says, I don't want wealth. Practically everybody wants wealth. And how much wealth do they want? A lot. Millions, right? And therefore there's millions of people going to the lottery. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Every day, practically. But you know what happens is they found that these people that win the lottery, it ruins their life. And sometimes they wish they never got it. It's amazing. Something they prayed for practically. They finally get it. Yahoo! Party! But then it ruins their life. The Lord Chaitanya said, no, not none. I don't want. And so many devotees, they had no money. 6 Goswamis. They were homeless. Going sleeping under a different tree every night. In Vrindavan, it's cold there. Right now it's cold. And it gets hot. And they didn't have beds and big, they didn't have big blankets, for the winter time. Right upstairs. Not Janam, I don't want followers. Practically everybody wants followers. Subscribe here. Everybody wants millions of subscribers. The more the better, Increase the pride. Ladanam, Nasundari. I don't want a beautiful wife. All men want a beautiful wife. Everybody wants a beautiful wife. But no, I don't want a beautiful wife. Ladanam, Nasundari, Kabatam, Vadidishikami. And birth after birth, I just want to serve him. I don't want liberation. Birth after birth, I just want to serve him. Amazing. So then one might say, well, wait a second, you don't want wealth, You don't want followers. You don't want a beautiful woman. You don't want liberation. What do you want? I just want to serve Krishna. Amazing. So this is a devotee. This is what we're aspiring for. As Prabhupada said, shoot for the rhino. You're shooting for a rhino, good luck. They weigh like 2 tons or something. And see, if you're not able to get the rhino, then anyway, get a rhino. If you're able to get a rhino, like wow, amazing. So we're shooting for the rhino. We're shooting for pure devotion. So maybe I'll stop there. We have a few minutes left. Is there any questions or reflections or comments from the internet or from the audience here in the Brahmacharya ashram? Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
One thing I see a lot in myself, but also I've seen a trend in devotees is when praying to or desiring the ultimate goal, it can be sometimes not just service to Krishna, but trying to go back to the spiritual world and just enjoy with Krishna or like something, it's not the supreme goal like what we talk about here is just having pure devotional service to Krishna wherever I am. Is there any practical advice for having that shift from that desire of I just want to go back to the spiritual world and be happy, eternally with Krishna to no, just wherever I am, let me be in service to Krishna?
Very good question. Actually, many places, Prabhupada says we should just desire to go back to God and serve Krishna. So that's okay. We're okay. Don't get mad. But to do that, we have to engage in pure devotional service. Have to live to please Krishna. Not easy. Because we have our senses, we have this mind, so many desires that the residents of Vrindavan don't have. Residents of Vaikuntha are spiritual, they don't have. So what is it? I think you sent out some nice little cartoon and pushing the garbage out of the body. And what's it?
Oh, and I sent it.
Yeah, yeah. You push it because we have so much garbage within us, so much knowledge that we gain, and this person's pushing it. Like when someone is leaving their body, sometimes people come, they try to push the hardest on the side. Just pushing down, and all the garbage coming out of his mouth.
Oh yeah. There was all the social media apps were coming up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, social media is a big problem. It's nice that here in this community, ISV, it's discouraged. Social media. So just by your association now, I even got off the Dandavats, it's pushing conscience. So yeah, just absorb ourselves in hearing about Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and chanting Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said we only need 4 books. Who knows the 4 books?
Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Truth.
Nectar of Devotion, those 4 books. He said we don't need more. We just read those 4 books, you go back to Godhead. But you have to follow. Here? Anything else? Anything on the internet? Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.